So you were fired or laid off from your last job and you don't know how to explain it to a future employer so that it doesn't negatively impact your chances of getting a new job. Well, you're in the right place because in this video, you're going to learn a better way to explain your termination in a job interview. I'm sharing 5 easy steps to help you professionally and gracefully explain that you lost your last job. And stick around until the end for a sample response that you can tailor and use in your next job interview. If we've never met before, I'm Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com and the Career Club on Facebook. And on this channel, I teach professionals just like you how to build your personal brand so that you can land your dream job and grow in a field you love. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Also, hit the bell notification so you're notified when I publish a new video or host a live training every week. There's nothing worse than being asked in an interview why you were terminated, why you were fired, or why you were let go from your previous position. No one wants to talk about why they lost their job. Believe it or not, it is possible to navigate this difficult question and still come out on top. So let's jump into it. Step number 1, wait until you've been asked. I get this question a lot. Heather, how do I mention on my resume that I was fired from my last job? Or how do I explain my termination in my job application? The answer is you never have to mention that you were fired or terminated on your resume. And you don't even need to mention it in the job application unless the employer specifically asks for it. What you do need to do, however, is list the correct employment dates, including the month and year that you were employed in your previous position. But you don't need to list the reason up front until your future employer specifically asks about it. Now, don't mistake this as being dishonest. You should always be honest in your job search. This isn't something that you should or can hide from a potential employer. Once you get into your job interview, there's a good chance they're going to ask you why you left your last job. The questions might look like, why did you leave your last job? Or why did you lose your last job? Or they might even ask you, why were you fired or let go from your previous position? So you need to be ready with a great answer when these questions come up, but you don't need to volunteer the information until you're asked about it. Which leads us to tip number 2, and that is to avoid negativity. A lot of times getting let go can be a very emotional and negative experience. There may have been drama surrounding the situation, or maybe you were treated unfairly. And even if the process of getting let go was smooth, losing a job is still really difficult, which is why you have to try even harder to fight the urge to speak negatively about losing your job. Nothing looks worse to a potential employer than someone who talks negatively about their previous position, especially if they mention anything bad about their boss, their colleagues, or the company. Try very hard to keep everything on a positive note and stay professional about the situation. If you start getting heated or upset while talking about what happened, the hiring official or recruiter is going to be worried that you are too emotional to deal with the difficulties of a professional life, or that you might not be able to handle problems well in the workplace setting. So do your very best to go into the interview prepared to talk about the situation calmly and positively. And if you need help to combat those interview day jitters, make sure you take a look at this video right here. I will also place a link for you down below. And tell me in the comments down below if you've ever been let go from a position. Let's continue the conversation down there. This leads us to step number 3, and that's to develop a short, concise response. This will help you keep a positive and professional note while answering questions about why you were laid off or why you were fired. It will also keep you on track and not dwell on the negative parts of the termination. It's important to move on with the more positive parts of your answer and with the interview. So keep your answer to 2 to 4 sentences. If you practice your answer at home in the mirror or with a friend, it will give you the chance to tweak your answer so you say exactly what you want to say. Plus, it will help you go into the interview more confidently, and it will help calm your nerves knowing what you're going to say. Now let's get into the pieces that will make up your 2 to 4 sentences, which is step number 4, start on a positive note. Now this can be really short. Just mention something you appreciated about working with your old company, maybe a way you grew or something that you learned. You want to set the stage for a professional and positive answer. So here's an example of what that might look like. I learned a lot about digital product design during my time at company company XYZ. This leads us to step number 5, which is to mention anything that wasn't your fault. This may or may not be the case for you, but if you were let go for something that wasn't your fault, you should definitely bring it up in the interview. It will help the interviewer feel more confident about hiring you. If you were let go for more than one reason, you can mention any part of that wasn't your fault. For example, you could say something like, unfortunately, because of the economic downturn, my department had to be downsized. And tell me in the comments down below if you've ever been let go from a position and it wasn't your fault. This leads us to step number 6, which is to briefly mention anything that was your fault. You should always be honest when talking about why you lost your job, even if it was something that you did to cause you to lose your job. You need to address it in a very objective but professional manner. Keep it very brief and explain what you learned and why this is not a problem the company needs to worry about when hiring you. This shows a lot of self-awareness if you can point to where you went wrong. It also shows self-motivation, especially if you are working to improve. For example, if you were fired or let go because you missed a very important deadline or a meeting, you should explain that you understand where you went wrong with the scheduling and the miscommunication. Then talk about how you are practicing and committing to a new method of scheduling your day. And if you know that there were a lot of things that you did wrong, don't list them all. Just mention one of the main reasons. Here's an example of what you might say. When I misunderstood a project due date and didn't get my work in on time, I was the one to go. And this leads us to step number 7, and that is to end on a positive note. In your concise answer of 2 to 4 sentences, your last sentence needs to talk about something positive. Mention why you think this is such a great opportunity for you to move forward with your career. Or bring the attention back to the new job and why you were excited to work for the company or in the new position. Here's one way this might sound. In the meantime, I've been practicing my skills using various project management software so that doesn't happen again. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to start working with the company with a more customer-facing approach. Now let's put our example together so you can see what a great sample answer to this question looks like. So when the interviewer asks you, why did you lose your last job? Or why were you terminated? Or why were you fired or let go? You can answer with something like, I learned a lot during my time at company XYZ, but the economic downturn meant my department had to be downsized. When I misunderstood a project due date and didn't get my work in on time, I was the one to go. In the meantime, I've been practicing my skills using various project management software so that doesn't happen again. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to start working with the company with a more customer-facing approach. Now before we go, I want to give you one last bonus tip to make sure you are completely ready for when this question comes up in an interview. And that is to don't let it get you down. Don't let the big elephant in the room control your attitude when you get into the job interview. Remember, you are worth much more than your employment status and you deserve a job you love. And to help you answer the most commonly asked interview questions, make sure you grab your free copy of the interview guide cheat sheet. I'll place a link for you down below. And take a look at this video right here where you'll learn exact responses to some of the most commonly asked interview questions. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.